Well, good morning, everyone. I think we'll get started. Welcome to the South Chicago Neighborhood Roundtable meeting of December 14th, 2021. On behalf of the corridor manager, South Chicago Parents and Friends, and Claritian, we appreciate you taking the time to attend this meeting this morning. We will be receiving 3 updates from DPD this morning regarding the RFP, the streetscape, and the nature play space. And then Dave will give an update on the Chicago alfresco update, and then we'll talk about a few position openings that we have that we just want to put out there for folks. So I will turn over the DPD updates to Erica.
Sure. So I think the first one on the agenda is the RFP. So if you could go to the next slides here. And Michael Pennisnack will give an update there. Are you on, Michael? I thought I saw you here.
Yep, I am on. Give me, I can start now. So the hazardous, so progress since last time, AJ Patent of Galleria is still working on getting site control from the property owners. And the big update, he has completed the phase 1 environmental surveys, which is important because that's going to be a big part of the city's redevelopment agreement with him. So he's moving on to the phase 2 and the hazardous building material survey. So these are older buildings built before 1978. So they have to do things with asbestos, lead paint, which are relevant to this roundtable, I think, because those are TIF eligible expenses. If anyone has any questions, again, because AJ doesn't have site control, certain things like the zoning application, and while he is very ready to move forward, he still needs that site control to start that process. So
can you go to the, I think it's 2 more slides after this, Tom? Well, yeah, here. So anyway, sorry, just wanted Michael to know that the slide was here. And as he was just saying, we're still in that sort of first gray block there, where we're doing environmental review, design review, looking at the zoning requirements, doing site acquisition. So anyway, it's we appreciate your patience. It's going to be a long process. It'll probably actually be shorter than your typical process, but it will feel long. So anyway, just wanted to let you know that things are still moving ahead, and Michael's been working. He has probably 3 or 4 meetings on this every week and has been working really hard. So this is moving forward, and we're happy to answer any questions.
oh, and I will note, as far as financing, a LIHTC application was submitted to the Illinois Housing Development Authority. They will hear back about that this month. As we all know, there's a major shortage of affordable housing in this country. So, and this state is not exempt from that. So it's a very competitive process with IDA too, as it is for the city.
Any questions?
Hi, this is Amalia. I was wondering for the LIHTC application or something like that, if it'd be helpful to have letters of support from the community. So I don't know if AJ is on, but that'd be something we could do if that's needed to help at any part of the process.
I will consult with the Department of Housing to see, especially for, stuff like IDA, if those support letters would be helpful. But very appreciative of that consideration.
Okay, now we'll go on to streetscape.
I think Ellen Schmidtson.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yep. Ellen?
Yes, hi, everybody. So we will be having our second public meeting tonight. Hopefully everyone is able to attend. I'm just gonna pop the registration into the chat really quickly in case anybody hasn't gotten a chance to register yet. But tonight we're going to be discussing the streetscape. As you know, that includes the entire commercial corridor from all the way from 83rd to 93rd. And we'll also be looking at 92nd Street from Anthony over to the cul-de-sac. Tonight, we're going to be discussing some of the urban design elements. We'll be discussing the revised corridor plans, including our new cross section that we're proposing up and down Commercial Avenue. And we're also going to be starting to touch on the community space in the cul-de-sac area. And we're glad to have Jasmine joining us tonight to talk a little bit about DPD's role in that with the nature play space as well. So what we're hoping to get out of our meeting tonight is just a little bit of direction on some of the aesthetics of the corridor, what everyone would like to see there, what types of seating, what type of branding and identifier items would be desired up and down Commercial Avenue. And we'll also be touching a little bit more on how we plan to incorporate safety improvements, some transit improvements, as well as some bike infrastructure. So it's a really big agenda for us tonight, a lot of things to get through, but we're pretty excited. It's really starting to kind of come together, whereas the first meeting was really just kind of a introduction and going over existing conditions. Tonight, we'll really start to get into some of the plans. If anybody has any questions, I'm happy to address those. Oh, I see one. What is the new cross section? So tonight we're going to be talking about some of the improvements to the cross section. So as everyone knows, the corridor right now, we have one travel lane in each direction. That's not going to change. Well, we have parking on either side of Commercial. That's not going to change. But what we are looking at is reclaiming some of the space from the roadway, which will allow us to add some raised bike lanes to Commercial Avenue. And we're also looking at doing some bus bulbs, which are curb extensions at the corners that will provide safety improvements for transit riders and also provide the ability for the bus to move a little more efficiently through the corridor. And then throughout in all locations where possible, we're going to be doing curb extensions, even in the areas where we're not doing bus bulbs. And that is to help shorten the crossing distances for pedestrians. And it also improves sight lines for vehicles. So if there is a crossing pedestrian, it just makes them more visible to cars. And it also serves to calm traffic. So we're really hoping that these streetscape upgrades are just going to make this entire corridor more safe in general for all users. Just with these traffic calming measures, these new bike infrastructure improvements, and all the improvements we're bringing for pedestrians. And along with that, we're also going to be modernizing signals, reevaluating turning lanes and things like that. So it will help the traffic flow a little bit more efficiently as well.
Are there any questions?
Ellen, how many people have signed up? Do you need people to get to do another push and ask people to attend?
Yes, we definitely do. I think at the last check at end of yesterday, we only had 18 people registered. So we are kind of trying to push that out again, and we're resending invites to everyone that attended the first meeting, everyone that participated in our community poll. But if anyone in this group could share this information, we really want to try to drive up our attendance to make sure we're getting a good representative cross-section of the community and really getting the input from local residents and business owners, because that is the most important people for us to reach out to with this.
I will go ahead and post the flyers again on the Alderwoman's social media pages, okay?
Thank you, Molly.
Of course.
And I will send out to the roundtable members the email with this information and ask them if they could send it out to their constituents as well.
Excellent.
Actually, I have a quick question. Like, everything that you said that we're going to be talking about tonight, is there a way for that to be sent out? So like, are we going to review it? And then like, is there going to be a survey to like vote on what we like, what we don't like? Like, what's the process going to be for tonight?
Yeah, so there's going to be live voting during the meeting. And then following the meeting, we're also going to open a SurveyMonkey public survey, so that can go out to the entire community to capture some of the thoughts and opinions on folks that weren't able to attend. And additionally, we'll be posting a recording of the meeting from tonight on CDOT's project website. It might take us, a week or so to get it up. But we will share that as well, so that everyone can, for people that weren't able to attend, they can go to the website and view the presentation.
Can they like look at the slides? Like the recording is one thing, but a lot of people are like visual. They'll want to see the slides before they do the survey. So if you put the survey up first and then the recording later, that's irrelevant. Like that doesn't work. Like it needs to be like the slides with the survey, so they can kind of do them both at the same time.
Yeah, we can post the slides to our project website, and which I just put the project website in the chat. So we can post the slides following the meeting, and that way that'll at least be available right away for anyone that wants to take the survey. And then we'll post the recording, as soon as we're able.
Can you put the link in the slides? Can you put the link to the slides also in the survey? Because I think that'd be helpful, because if we send out the survey, then they could click on the link because they're already online. So they should be able to click on the link to see the slides, just to make it easy for folks.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and I'll send to this group, we'll create a new flyer just for the survey itself. And I'll make sure we include those links, and I will share that with DPD and this group. So if anyone is able to share that with the community, greatly appreciated.
Are there any other questions? Let's see what we got in the chat there. Okay, share the survey. Okay, we're good there. Okay, we're going to go on to nature play space.
Jasmine, if you want to jump in.
And this is just, okay, so I'm giving some updates tonight at the meeting. And there hasn't been much change from the last meeting, but for those maybe that weren't there, in the past few months, it feels longer, but the Army Corps of Engineers has contributed a large sum of money to this project as well, so we can move it forward. And just to recap, are there any other slides in this one? I don't know what, but just to give a recap, this project has been around for a while, and it's like a stormwater management, green, open nature play space. But basically, they'll have some stormwater management infrastructure so that it can reduce street flooding and like flooding in people's homes and the surrounding areas. And then it also improves water quality and then lowers the reliance on the sewer system, because they kind of divert water away from the sewer system. So there'll be some infrastructure in there, and then there'll be elements where kids can play. And we've talked to El Valor, which is like the early childhood education center down the street, and Clarice and Associates, and with SSA. So on like maintaining and stewarding the space. And then the new piece is that CDOT will be able to close the cul-de-sac, and I think we're going to talk about that in the meeting today. But they'll be able to close the cul-de-sac, and so all these spaces will kind of coordinate and work together. And then with that new funding as well, at first we weren't going to do, the image on the right was going to be phase 2, which is the river access and having the overlook. With the new money that we received, we could potentially just do the whole project at one time and do the river access and the cul-de-sac nature play space at the same time, which is great news. We're still exploring it because that wall next to the water may be a really high price ticket. So we're trying to see if we're able to do it or not. But the goal is to do both right now. And that would be a great access point for people to go to the river and the community there. Any questions? And again, I will give an update later tonight, and then neighbor space will be there as well. So if you go back to this, go back one slide, Tom, can you see, oh, you were there, yeah. So Amalia, that piece that rendering on the right was the that sliver of yellow, that parcel right here. Yes, thank you, Tom. You guys can't see my mouse, I just realized that. But yes, it's the sliver of that parcel right there by the water. So right now, if you go there, that the land right next to the water is very deteriorated, so it would need to be totally rebuilt. And then they would add in some more stormwater infrastructure so that it can filter into the river, and some engineering things that I don't know about. But yeah, that's where it would be. And we would also need to look at the crossings. It's accessible in that you could go there, but it's not clear how to safely get there. So we would need to look at doing more defined signage and right of way, maybe some artistic things on the street just to guide people over there. And there's nothing there when you get there now. Like there's nothing over there at this time. So the idea is to program it out and actually have seating and things for people. A bridge or a tunnel, so that's been brought up a number of times as well, to cross that street intersection. I think we talked about maybe seeing how much that costs just to see. But it would, I know we don't have the funds now to do that. But that's not to say that we shouldn't at least get maybe the pricing for it and just see what the alternative paths are. So the Army, so Amalia asked, can the Army Corps of Engineers pay for it? So the Army Corps of Engineer funding is restricted to actually the green stormwater infrastructure piece. So things like bridges or tunnels, they haven't really committed to building.
But it's not accessible. I mean, realistically, it's not accessible. So if they're creating green space, how does a community have access to it? Because right there, there's so many companies. That's why I was asking if it's even accessible right now, because you could drive by it and not realize you can go there. Not that you should, but.
So I think a piece of this, so originally we weren't going to do this phase until we got more funding. And so we just recently decided we could maybe go for it. So that's definitely something that needs to be thought through. It's like how we get people across the street. Because I agree, there needs to be a plan for that.
Can you talk a bit about, the timeline? So, I mean, we're still really in the beginning of the public outreach. I mean, we haven't done public outreach, right?
Right. So this project has been around for a while. I think even as early as 2016, they did some visioning around it. And I know in 2018, there were like pop-up play events and other meetings around it. But I think for January and February, we're looking to do some additional community meetings and design charrettes around it to develop the design more. And then now that the cul-de-sac will have a design as well, we're going to be coordinating with CDOT on that design and how that all works together. So things will need to be moved around. So in January and February, we will have some community meetings in the new year, the first quarter of the new year. We'll have a round of some meetings to hash that out more and think through these design issues.
Hey, Jasmine, it's Ish.
Yeah. Hey.
Nice to see you.
Yes, even virtually.
So I have a question. Do you need help, or is there any way that the aldermanic office can help with? I don't know if you've been able to talk to the land, the person who has that plot of land in the cul-de-sac, where they're using it for the cars.
Yeah, I will reach out to you because that is something that we'll either need to integrate and work around, or hopefully the problem is less. Yeah, I'll talk to you offline about that, but that's an ongoing issue.
Okay.
So
yeah,
we
no,
may need help.
I just wanted to basically extend whatever it is, help to to see how we can move that through.
And I know the alderwoman said she reached out to one of his family members. If you could give me even their contact information, because I haven't been able to reach him yet.
Okay. Yeah, no problem.
Any other questions? Okay. We'll move on to corridor manager updates. You want to try and see if you can share your screen, Dave?
And yeah, okay, I will.
Sure. Oh, here. Try that. Yep, there you go.
Okay. So I want to just give a real quick update on where we stand on the alfresco. In conversations with the city, we decided that it would be better for us to actually have the ribbon cutting ceremony in spring. So we don't have an actual date yet, but it'll be when the weather breaks, whenever that happens to be. I would imagine, conceivably in April, hopefully in April, if we have to delay it to May. But again, we're going to be doing the actual ribbon cutting ceremony in the spring and really have a lot of activity around that. So while the actual ribbon cutting may occur in a 2-hour time frame, we're looking at having maybe a week-long list of events that will be open to the community, as well as the ribbon cutting ceremony. So it's more than just a ribbon cutting. Where are we right now on the actual installation? 2 of the 4 MART stalls have been installed. We're still waiting for Romero to tell us that the paint shop has completed painting on the second 2. Those can get installed in the winter. It's a fairly quick process. There's a photo on the left where they were installing the first of the 2 that did get installed. And then we still need to complete the MART stall registration process so that we can very easily make available the stalls to entrepreneurs and any other organization that would like to set up on the sidewalk. So that's still a work in progress. Once the stalls are in place, there's actually a few other things that we want to do that were part of the initial design. And essentially, there is some shelving or tabletop that needs to be fabricated. Those are actually going to be made out of inch thick marine plywood and painted. I have the paint, let's see, painted to match RAL 1004 golden yellow. They'll be the same color as the stalls themselves. There's also an arrow up here where another shelf could be installed for a vendor who might want to set something up on display. And then the second major piece that was intended to give the stalls, that trellis, a little bit more form, and that is having a fabric essentially running in different ways to cover a portion of the trellis. And we really need to kind of discuss what that looks like. It's going to be a durable fabric. It may be vinyl, it may be mesh, it may be solid. Possibility of having art installed on it so that it could be painted. This is just an example of where, you know, they suggested that it could be placed, and the attachment will allow, we're looking at Velcro, we're looking at something that would allow the fabrics to be installed and removed over time. Another piece that's not going to be completed, we anticipated when we were going to have a summer installation complete, that these fence panels that are now up in place would support live art events in the late summer and fall of this year. We've decided, obviously, to have those live art events to occur in the spring. I expect that at least one of those fence sections will be a live art event, perhaps on the day that we have the ribbon cutting. So we'll actually have an art group out there installing art while the ribbon cutting is occurring. The artist stipends will not be large. We're hoping that we can attract some artists who are really interested in contributing to the community, but we want to make certain that they're not taking on any costs of the installation. We expect that the three events total an estimated cost of about $3,000, and that'll come out of SSA funds. With the art towers are installed. If you haven't walked down Commercial Avenue on the 8900 block, I'd encourage you to look at them. They really are eye-popping. They certainly attract people's attention when people are walking along the street. There were 4 blank panels that have sort of wandered away. So while the towers were intended, we have 5 towers. There were supposed to be 20 art panels. We in fact have 5 towers with 16 art panels. You can see on this art tower, there's actually a panel missing. We're going to need to have 4 new panels fabricated. We already have a budget for commissioning the art to be installed on these panels, so that should get done. That can be done this winter. There's nothing to prevent us from getting these installed before the ribbon cutting.
Hey, Dave.
Yeah.
Are you showing photographs? Because I still see the first, and maybe this is just me, but I still see the first slide
Really?
with the graphic of the overview.
I've just paged through. Is my screen not being shared, Tom?
No, I see it.
What I have here is a photo of one tower that's mounted on the sidewalk in front of Macias Groceries. Does everybody else see it?
No,
No.
Tom, your screen is still sharing because it says that I'm looking at Tom's screen.
Yeah, that's what I see too.
Okay, Tom, this isn't working.
Let me come out of mine. Okay, now you try and share yours. Now do you see it?
Yes, I see it now.
Okay. I'm trying to figure out how to go back.
I think hit the escape button and then it should bring you back to PowerPoint.
I just want to go back to the first slide so that I can walk through it real quick.
Yeah.
Hang on, I'm sorry about this. Well, I'm having problems here.
We can see the art tower slide.
Is that what you see still? Do you
No,
see
we
any
can't see
slides?
anything right now.
I don't see anything right now.
No, I think you came out of your screen share.
You see the first slide now?
Yeah,
Yes.
it's,
Yeah.
yep.
Okay.
Yep, there
So
you go.
this is again the this is the installation that occurred in the fall of the 2 Mart stalls. We need to complete the Mart stall registration process. Real quick, because this had some detail, the tabletops are installed here. There's a possibility of putting a shelf there so that a vendor could actually set product up there. This is the screening, and it's just a suggestion of where it would be placed. But again, it could be a mesh screen, it could be a vinyl solid screen. The intent is to give the actual trellis a little bit more form, a little bit more solid appearance. And those are things that we'll need to work on to have installed in the spring. We'll certainly want to have them in place before the ribbon cutting. These are the one picture of the fence panels. There's a total of 3 fence panels that need to have art installed. That'll be done in the spring as well. The intent is to have at least one of those as a live art during the ribbon cutting ceremony. And we really kind of want to have each fence section as a live art project on different weeks so that there's kind of an ongoing activation that's occurring on the block. Estimated cost $3,000. Here is a photo of one of the art stacks that have been installed. They're all pretty similarly vibrant. Definitely catch the eye of people who are walking along the sidewalk. Mentioned that we seem to have misplaced 4 panels. And I'll have those fabricated and get art commissioned through the winter so that they can be installed before the ceremony. Here's a panel that's missing right there on that one. One other item that we're going to need to do, the last item, is we have 6 very large planters that are part of the benches that were installed. They're currently don't have soil. They're really big, so we need to fill them with soil. And I think we'll need to talk to people who know how to do this, probably the city. We want to have it probably be a mix of perennial and annuals. Annuals will provide summer color all summer long. The perennials will provide, and we're thinking maybe some ornamental grasses, but essentially these planters are quite large. They're almost 4 feet long and maybe 2 feet wide, and they're more than 2 feet deep. So 2 feet deep. So the panels, or rather the planters, are large. We're going to want to have plantings in place. Certainly the soil will be in place for the ribbon cutting, but we may not have plantings installed. That's it.
Okay, if you hit, yeah, exit to, let's take you up to there. Okay. Let me go to.
And Dave, when is this ceremony?
We don't have a date yet.
Oh,
That's
okay.
something that we'll have to coordinate with the city. I know that that'll be something that I work with Mary O'Connor on.
Okay.
You know, planning department, I imagine Maurice Cox will be there. You know, if the mayor is available, she'll be there, but yeah, it's going to be something that we'll have to coordinate with the city. All we've agreed on is that it's going to be in the spring.
Got it. Okay.
Any other questions, comments? Caroline did ask if she could have a few minutes at this meeting. So Caroline.
Yes, thank you, Tom, and hi, everybody. I will be very brief. I just wanted to give everybody a heads up that we're going to be putting out a survey about the community roundtable specifically. I'll actually share the link to the survey in the chat as soon as I'm done talking here. So to take a step back, we're, coming around on almost 2 years of doing neighborhood roundtables. And so it seemed like a good time to sort of step back and evaluate how that's going, how it's working, and maybe some ways that we can improve them. And so we're looking for all of you who have been regular or occasional roundtable attendees to complete this survey, which really just asks like, what's going well, what's not, how can we do this even better to really ensure that community input is a key part of every Invest Southwest community roundtable. So I just wanted to give you this heads up that that's what it's doing. There will be additional follow-up. The survey is just the first step in kind of getting some feedback from everybody about how the roundtables are going and how we can improve them. And so I will encourage each of you to fill out that survey and to share it with others who maybe weren't on today's roundtable but have been attendees elsewhere. So like I said, I will put the survey links in the chat. It's available in both English and Spanish. And I'll also put my email address in the chat. If folks are more comfortable filling this out on paper, I can provide anybody on this call with paper versions of that survey, again, in either English or Spanish. I know some folks would prefer to do that online, so and paper rather. So please fill out the survey, please share it. I can send it out as a follow-up to this call as well via email. But just a heads up to do that and what it's all about. I can take any questions if there are any.
No? Okay. Does anyone have
Thanks,
any?
Tom.
You're welcome, Caroline. Any general questions or comments they'd like to make?
Just generally, hey everyone, this is Angela. This Saturday, if you guys aren't busy, at 10:30, we are having our official grand opening of the entire Salud building, apartments and the community center. So the mayor's slated to be here. We welcome all.
Great. One more chat. What do we have? I did get, Ellen emailed me an English and Spanish version of the flyers that I'll send out to everyone after this meeting regarding tonight's Commercial Avenue event. So I'll make sure everyone gets
we found this Spanish one on Alderwoman Garza's page, but the when you go to the registration, there's a big block of English and it's nothing is in Spanish on the registration page.
Okay.
And then if you go to the event, I don't know what you call it, the event page or whatever, I could put it in chat. It's all in English and there isn't even a Spanish flyer on it. So the only place that I've seen it is on Alderwoman Garza's page.
Okay, I'll send Ellen that on the registration page. She did send out the 2 flyers.
It's also on the SSA 5 Facebook page. I boosted it, but if anybody would like to share that, it's on our Facebook page as well. And both English and Spanish.
Thanks, Dave. Thanks.
Okay, any other comments, questions? Please try and chat up with everyone to attend and register for tonight's meeting. The more people we get, the better. Okay, there's a link there. If not, we wish everyone a happy holiday season and thank you for attending today's roundtable meeting. We'll see you back in January.
Thank you, Tom Shell. Thanks everybody for being here. It's Alderwoman Garza.
Thank you.
Sure.
Thanks for showing up.
Thanks.
Thanks for the updates, guys.
We'll see you tonight.
See you tonight.
Okay.
Bye.